Hey guys, it's Nigel with Taylor's Atelier. I'm going to show you guys today how to take apart the jeans when you're about to prepare it for tapering the full sides in through the waistband. Let's go. All right. So first thing you want to do is determine how much you're going to be taking in. So I'm going to take in 3/4 of an inch on each side of the pants. So first of all, I'm going to kind of give you a quick run through. We're going to remove this all the way down the side. We're going to remove the opposite side also, and we have to do this. So this is essential to learning when we're preparing the pants for the original hems. All right, here we go. First, we're going to take the loops off. When you remove the loops, be careful not to remove it at this point. You always want to flip the loop on the inside, and you want to take the blade very carefully and cut the original stitch. Then you want to take your hands and you want to remove any extra fabric from the inside. When we're putting the jeans back together, you're going to see how to remove that. Only take it out from the bottom, leave it attached to the top. Also, you want to separate the tag. Again, you want to be careful, so you're sliding the blade between, and you're cutting only the thread. When you're working with a blade like this, you have to be extremely careful. Again, you could leave the extra to the top. If this is the side seam of the jeans, you can cut a little bit beyond, maybe about 1.5 inches. Some jeans has the chain stitch. This jeans has a chain stitch. Sometimes when you pull the stitch, the full line comes out. I'm going to show you how easy this can be. If you pop it a little, you see, the chain is going to come out. I like to keep this thread when it comes out because at the end I could use this thread to put it back if I don't have the original. Don't go too far past this side, the other side seam line. And then you want to cut it on both sides. And like I said, I tend to keep this thread for when we're putting it back together. I can use that for a top stitch. This is the outside of the waistband. Again, this is the center loop. I want to make sure that I flip it on the inside. Don't take a risk cutting it against the pants. Flip it on the inside and open the seam like that. If you have a seam ripper, you could easily remove the extra thread. You want to take out all of these original thread marks because it causes bulk when you're trying to restitch it in that position. So you want to remove all of the thread. And then you could continue taking out the top stitch from the band. Again, you go a little bit past where it's supposed to be, and you can keep this thread also. The one from the bottom chain is actually better because it's a thicker thread. Okay, clean up, remove all the extra, anything that's holding the waistband. Now, when I was fitting this pants, and there's a lot of videos that I've posted on my YouTube channel already that describe how much. So on this person's pants, there was a slight bubble on the side. She likes the fullness to the bottom, but she wants the waist taken in a little and she wants the sides. So what I do, I put those marks on it and I'm going to transfer these marks. I'm using a regular wax chalk. I'm going to put the difference because I know it's against the... And oh, by the way, all of this extra fabric is coming out from the back of the pants, not the front. I don't like to take it from the front because that discolored look there, I don't want to lose that discolored look. Let's take the pins out. So in this video, you would learn how to prepare it for the table, and then you will find another video of how to put the marks on it. So that amount of fabric, can you see the mark there? That amount of fabric comes out. So now this top stitch, it's an additional top stitch that helps the jeans company hold the weight from the side of the pants. But it only ends like about 7 or 8 inches down. So that seam we have to remove now. So I'm going to flip the pants to the inside. Normally I could just use the blade to do that also. I'm just going to pop the seam. Again, be careful. You want to lift it back like that. Take the blade, put it right between the seam and give it a little pull. And then what you can do once you've started, you slip the pants over to the right side, take the blade, using your hands to separate the seams, and you just continue down. So you would need to have a Mero machine because this stitch to the outside, it's done on a serger or a Mero. So when you're done restitching it, you will need a Mero machine. If you don't have a Mero machine, you could always add a safety stitch on the edge of the denim. It will prevent the denim from fraying. We're cutting past the line. Sometimes when the lady comes and her seat is prominent, we would reduce just the waistband. So normally we'd come down to this point. But on this particular pants, this is what you call a boyfriend jeans. It's wide all the way through. She loves the way the jeans look, but she doesn't like the width of the legs. She wants it reduced. So this is what I'm teaching you today. Again, like I said, regularly when we open this, normally it's really loose to the back of the pants, but the hip fit really well. And we would normally stop like about here. That's another video that you will find on my YouTube channel. So let's keep opening all the way down. I would use the presser foot sometimes. I'll put it under the foot, just a hole, and then take the blade and pull. You don't want to pull hard where you rip the denim. If you rip the denim, you have another problem. So you don't want to rip the denim. And you have to cut it all the way through and then clean it up after. If you look closely right here, you'll see. If you come closer, you will see. I'm opening the full leg almost down past the calf in this case. Okay, so this is the opposite side now. I've already opened the waistband area and I'm going down the leg area just to cut the video a little bit shorter for you guys. Go back at the first scene where you saw me opening the line. Like 6 inches from the bottom, and then the tedious task of cleaning up the denim. You have to remove all of these all of this bad thread, because you don't want to put none of this back in the pants when you close it back up, because you're going to be putting all new threads in. You want to make sure and clean it up. It gets a little bit messy now. I'm especially clearing close to the line. I can hide some of this loose thread between the seams when I'm closing it back up, but if I leave any thread close to the line, it's going to show. take off the top stitch, that gold stitch. We're going to put that back when we're putting back the jeans together. Make sure and clean. Then you want to go to the opposite side and do the same thing again. Everything you do on the right side, you want to process it immediately on the left side. If the tailor shop, most tailor shops will charge over $50 to do this particular task because of the time it takes the average tailor. So then you get an opportunity to save yourself $50 if you could learn to do this at home. And again, look, remove the extra fabric, remove the extra thread.
So you measured both sides, not just one side.
Right, and it's very important for you to do that. Okay, now the waistband, the center loop on the waistband, we have to lift that center loop because we're going to cut the center loop position and we're going to reduce the width of the waistband by almost 2 inches. So this center loop comes all the way out. Same process to remove the loop. Cut on the inside of the loop. Don't press too hard because you don't want to cut through the loop. And then you want to carefully lift it. You don't want to damage the waistband. Again, you want to clean out the extra fabric from there before. Okay, keep this loop close by your machine. Take off the extra fabric from the middle. And then the center part right here, you're going to remove the top. If you have one of these tags to the back, sometimes you have to move over the whole tag. In this case, I'm just going to take off the top because it's pretty close to the loop already on the right side. And I'm going to remove the top part of the stitch, at least at 2 inches on each side. And right through the center where the loop was, we're going to cut it. I'm double checking to make sure I'm actually cutting the right place. And I'm going to cut it because I'm going to reduce this and stitch it back on the top like that. So let's measure how much we're doing. On the right side, it's 3/4 of an inch. On the left side, it's 3/4 of an inch. So that's 1.5. I'm going to flip the jeans waistband inside out. And 1.5, that'll be 3/4 on each side. I'm pulling the denim back together. And on the machine here, there's lines. It says 3/4. If you look closely here, you will see the lines. And I'm going to stitch 3/4 inch in on the waistband. Why do I cut the waistband? Most people ask me, why do you do it? You see, in the past, I've done it where I wouldn't cut the waistband, where I'd fold it over. And what happened, the waistband ends up with a bump on the inside. So if this person wants to take their pants back out, let's say they gain some weight, we wouldn't be able to let it all the way back up to the original. We'll have to let it back out to 1/4 inch less than what the original was. You understand why, right? Stitch. This is the pants. The lines are going to come back perfect to the top. And then we're going to take the loop and we're going to hide the seam. Okay? I'm going to stitch back the sides. I'm going to flip it inside out. Oh, I didn't clean the right side of the pants, guys. Let's clean the right side off. I only cleaned out the back because that's the side I actually focus on for most of the work. But the front, you gotta clean out the front also. Okay, I'm gonna flip the pants inside out at this point. Flip it inside out. Flip it inside out. I like to check the needle. I'm going to change this needle out to a heavy gauge needle. This is a size 14, that was a size 10. Of course, you know it's denim, and if you use a light grade needle, then the needle break. Do you have a 16 needle? Do you have a 16 needle? Uh-huh. Can I get it? Mm-hmm. So that's the original line. Now when I stitch it back in, I'm going to stitch 3/4 inch in. I'm going to take the front of the jeans and I'm going to put it 3/4 inch in because I took out 3/4 on each side. And that's the new line. If you look, this is the line I'm going to follow. I'm going to come wide on the hip, and then right under the hip, I'm going to start to come back into the new line. I'm changing the needle on this machine to a heavier gauge needle so that when we hit the hard parts of the denim, the needle doesn't break. If you look here, you'll see I changed the needle. Okay, let's stitch it back, guys. 3/4 inch in on the right side and on the left side. The hip part of her pants fit really good, but the exact way. So I need to go from the 3/4 inch down to 1/2 inch, and I'm going to swerve the legs back in. This lady has a wide hip, a small waistline, but she wants her pants to be close by. When you hit the stud on the inside, you want to be careful when you run the needle close to it because you don't want to hit the needle on the stud. And I'm going to ease it through by taking my hand and I'm going to roll the needle over that spot. I'm going to be very careful if you look closely right here. And then there's the mark. I'm going to bring it back in like this. So I'm creating the small waistline, back to the wide hip, back to the curve, back in on the denim. And when I do alterations, I prefer to leave extra fabric on the inside. And I'll show you guys how I do that. As a matter of fact, I'm going to take this back. I'm going to change this for a second because I know this particular customer and I like to preserve the integrity of the pants by giving them option. I'm going to open that back up and I'm going to go to the Mero. So this is the machine I was telling you about earlier. It's called a Mero machine or a blind stitch machine. It runs with 3 threads. It runs with 3 thread and it's very complicated to thread. There's several steps, but fortunately for us, we've been doing this for a long time and we're very able to run it through. Come a little closer, you'll be able to see a little bit better. Thank you. Okay, so we're gonna run the needle all the way down the side. Here we go. Because I don't want to cut out any fabric on the inside of the jeans. So I'm gonna mirror the edge so that the fraying will stop.
It changes a little. Like when you're up close, like when you're looking at it, you know, like this, it's different. It's like, I think this is like, these are like
Run it off.
textures.
And then do the same thing on the right side of the pants.
On the flatter side.
Yeah.
You still have that texture. But this is the one we were saying has the black.
Yeah.
You can definitely see sort of that hatch weave going through it.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to look at it. Yeah.
Coming a little bit closer, you'll see the machine work.
Yeah, I used to have a suit that had like, it was like a gray suit that had like blue ribbing through it. Kind of like first yeah.
Rather than cutting out the extra fabric, this is one of the best ways to save it. So we just trim it off so that this person now has the jeans that they can change if they want it in the future, because I didn't just cut out the extra fabric. At the end of the day, for me, alterations is all about preserving the person's ability to prolong the life of the garment.
Yeah, this is still navy.
Maybe a little, it's like not.
This is like all of these. This one's around the texture. But it just doesn't really have a lot of texture. It's really strong.
Yeah.
That wasn't the thing I was even thinking about. Those two are very nice. I wonder how this compares to. I mean, they're all pretty.
Yeah, I feel like this one is standing out. This one, like those are ones that kind of.
So remember the name of the machine? It's a mirror machine or blind stitch machine. Most people may not have this in their houses. You may have a tabletop machine, or you can cut out the extra fabric. Okay, come on, let's get back over here now.
I think compared to all the others, it's just like these are more of a contender than that.
Okay.
So I think we can for that one out.
Okay. So I'm starting on the left leg from the bottom up. Looking at my new line, I'm going to put the original seam lines on there.
I really dig this.
Move it back in really closely. If you come a little closer. There we go.
That's right. Yeah.
Follow the line.
It's like two denim. That's the word. I was gonna say it looks kind of like sheet.
Same width, I'm taking it in an inch on the leg.
Sort of slaty and this is like a darker shade of that.
And then as we go up to the hip area, we're going to move it back out.
This is the.
Because like I said, the legs was the thing that was really wide on this jeans. Her hips fitted really well.
Yeah. Bricktown is like the weave or what makes the difference?
So yeah, all of the above. So this is.
Back to the hip area.
70.
Put the stitch on it.
The higher the
And then on the waist, we're going to come back out on the waist right here.
And so because this one's
Right to the top.
70, and then it's
Put the stitch on it. There we go. And let's now flip it over to the opposite side. And let's do the same thing.
You know how delicate.
Yeah, they're more fragile. Yeah.
Exactly. So I mean, in your case, you're not going to be wearing them for work.
No, it's not a daily suit,
Right.
so it's
So-
kind of more of an occasion.
Right. Right. That's why I always ask, because if this is something you're planning to like kind of wear through and like beat up a little bit, then
Yeah.
I wouldn't recommend this at all.
When you hit the stud, guys, remember I said walk it through the stud area. Keep going.
This was definitely gonna have the nicest feel in terms of weight. So this is a good like medium weight.
And then we're going to come back out because we're shaping the pants right now.
Anything that's between 260 and 280 is okay. 250 and under.
You want to give it a little pull to make sure that the line isn't right
Like more of a heavy
in the right spot. Remember, look, 1 inch difference on the leg.
Oh, 340.
I mean, you can feel it. Yeah, this one has a little bit more weight to
I
it.
was just say it feels. I mean, this one definitely feels thicker.
More of a winter weight, summer weight.
Okay. So I'd probably be pretty hot in that.
This one I think might be a little too
Okay. So
Then
Nice
we're gonna
texture,
put the
but,
waistband
yeah,
back on. Remember we took out 3/4 inch on each side, and we took out 3/4 inch on the waistband.
You can wear it all year round.
Yeah.
This probably wouldn't do well in the summer.
Cool.
So then we'll take this one out.
Okay.
I like to put,
Okay. And then,
using the regular thread, I want to use,
yeah. I mean,
I want to open the seams. Let me flip it on the inside so you can see. I want to open the seams. I want to flip the seams, I'm sorry, backwards. So it's going to be flat when we're done because I have to put a top stitch on there. I'm going to get the thread.
I like this color the most, to be honest with you. Yeah.
Let's put the top stitch on it. I'm going to change the thread. I'm going to change this thread because remember the top stitch we removed from the sides?
I think this is probably going to be more conservative.
Yeah.
Just because of how dark it is. It's on the darker side. This one I think is going to be a little bit more
Here?
fun.
Yeah.
But this one's going to be nicer. So it's like,
Okay.
you know,
Pull it through.
I think this is probably the most fun.
yeah.
Let's put the top stitch
Because of
back.
color, yeah.
Remember that the side here we remove the top stitch.
It's not just flat, right? It's
Yeah.
I want to be able to put that top stitch
Yeah.
back.
Which is good
There's something
because
to it that catches the light, which I think is cool.
yeah,
So.
because when you think about
I'm going to open the seam because I think it's a little bit too thick.
Around, you're going to be walking and things like that. So this is going to capture
some
real
dancing,
well.
yeah.
Exactly, yeah. So this I think moves really well. I just like how it looks when you know when the cloth moves.
Okay.
These don't really have the same characteristics.
Yeah.
Yep. This one I think is going to move the best.
Okay. So this one's probably my leading, but let me.
Okay.
I'll check with the boss.
Sure,
and
sure,
see
sure.
what she thinks. And that's like I think one of those three is something that works. Hopefully she come back and be like, "What are you thinking?" But I think it'll be fine. I like that. So.
Awesome. All right, cool. So let me
Yeah.
Take your time when you run over the bumps.
we can still like go through and just kind of talk. through
Again,
the
I like to walk
yeah,
it.
options.
I like to walk
We'll
it
take some
over.
notes, and then
Come closer, you'll see what I'm doing here.
So let me just bring these back.
I washed out the photo of the middle.
Oh, go for it,
middle. The middle tag. So I'm just trying to.
Okay.
Now we got all the numbers.
Yeah, and I'll jot all these.
Oh, yeah,
down,
that's
too.
right.
I'll know which one.
Make sure and check the bottom. Make sure everything is out of the way.
Like,
Oh, this one is a little bit short.
And again, remember we're going 6 inches down past the pocket. It's a safety stitch.
I like the idea of the lighter weight.
It goes down to the inner pocket bag because it helps to support the weight of the pants. I'm gonna tack. See that original stitch there?
Yeah,
Looks pretty, right?
yeah, that's
Yeah, it's just like too blue.
All of this is gonna clean up nicely when we get it to the iron. We're gonna open that seam back up. And let's go to the other side.
This one is just a little bit of stretch, which is done. So let's, I'm gonna bring these
Yeah, I
back
don't know.
so I can take
Yeah.
down the notes on these.
For sure.
I know which ones they are.
Let's see here. Remember when you're going over the hard part, and this top stitch goes to the back of the pants, it's not to the front of the pants. You want to make sure and flatten it out as best as possible, guys, otherwise you can break the needle. See, I'm pressing it with my hands, and when the needle comes to that point, I'm going to take my hands and I'm going to roll the needle through because I don't want to break the needle. Even on the heavy industrial machines, unless it's like a leather machine, I wouldn't take the chance running through here. I'll take my time and I roll it through because the Juki 8700 and the 8100, they're heavy duty, but they won't run over the edge of the denim. You'll need a leather pants, a leather machine to do that. Again, remember you're feeling for the pocket bag to the bottom, and as soon as you pass the pocket bag line, you can stop. You could feel it when you're stitching it. There we go. All right, now cut the extra thread out one time while I'm here. And the extra thread I want to clean up. Now I'm gonna put the waistband, just put it back on the inside, sandwich the waistband back between, and I'm gonna double check. So if you look closely here, this is the this is the color thread that I want to put. But on the side of the denim, it's always a different color thread. It's part of the enhancing of the jeans. So we use a bright gold color on the side, and then we use the other gold shade to the top. So that's the shade I'm going to change. So now I'm going to change the thread again. The more you practice, the more you try this at home, the better you will get. I like to pull it through. I'm going to pull it through, and then I'm going to rethread the needle again. Okay, here we go. Open the seam for the waistband to the back. Flatten it out. Some people take a pin or something and they put like a pins like that to hold it in place. Everything is important at this point. You got to make sure that on the inside of the waistband you tuck it all the way up and you fold it so it will fold over perfect. Feel it to see if it's thin. Then on the bottom part again, you want to fold it under, make sure it's thin, and then fold it over. Again, look, you want to make sure that all of the pieces is folding exactly together. Take the pin. It helps to hold if you can do the pins. You see, it keeps the waistband in perfect position. And then you want to fold it to the bottom, do the same thing again. So I'm going to check it to make sure that the back part is a little bit overlapping the front. That's very crucial to this one stitch. I'm going to put the waistband back, sandwich the pants between the waistband, and now I'm going to reapply that stitch that we had there before. I'm going to pull it, make sure that it's equal, make sure that there is no extra. Sometimes you could make a mistake and you can stitch it a little bit too wide. Sometimes you could make a mistake and you can stitch it a little bit too much or too little. You want to make sure that all of the seams are tucked in nicely. Again, you can take a pin and you could pin it. It will help to make sure that that seam gets under the waistband. You want to check the both sides, make sure the seam is under the waistband. And then you're going to come and you're going to put the top stitch, reapplying it. That one top stitch is all you need. You don't need to put 2 and 3 stitches on it, because the top stitch that we're using, the thread is very strong and it will hold the denim perfect for you. Look, I'm putting it between. There's the original discoloration. If that loop is getting in your way, like it's getting in my way, just put something on it like that. It will hold it down. And then continue the stitch. I don't like to go too far. I want to come right here, come a little closer, you'll see. I want to be able to check under to make sure that I caught the hem. I caught the seam. It's very important, guys. You be the judge of your work. Don't let anyone see your work and you haven't judged it. You look it over. You make sure that it's done right. It's your work and it's the pride of what you do. So you make sure that you check it and you double check it. Someone shouldn't come and look at the jeans that you worked on and it's not done right. Again, as you go through this part, the denim becomes very thick, because remember we cut the seam and we left the fabric on the inside. So again, you could walk the needle and push the fabric as you go, push it in as you go under the needle. I like to take my time in this area here because I don't want to break the needle, then I have to stop and do over all of that again. And like I said, this is a Juki 8100, and this machine, it will run over some heavy fabric, but not very heavy denim, especially. Sometimes even leather. We sew leather with this machine by changing the presser foot out. And then we continue stitching. On the opposite side, it gets soft again. You want to pull Make sure it's all tucked in. I'm going to rejoin the stitch over here. Give a little back tack. Take it out. Double check the bottom that I caught the seam. Double check the lines that we got everything right. Take out any extra fabric. Remove the pins that you put. These were all support pins, by the way. Double check the left and the right, and you want to cut out any extra thread. A lot of people, when they do this work, they cut out all the fabric on the inside. To me, I think that lessens this person's ability to, to reduce, to let this pants back in, to take it back in. Let's put the loops back on top again. I'm going to put the original stitch back to the top of the waistband now. Make sure that's placed back there. Then I'm going to put the loop to hide the line so nobody knows. See, the old-fashioned way, they would cut the waistband off and they would put two darts to the. I remember doing that in the past, and then I think maybe like about 84, 85, I started to cut the sides of the pants and do it from the side. And then when I came here in working at Bloomingdale's, I began to show the tailors there how to do this particular way. And I think it's become mainstream standard. I don't know if I started it or if somebody else started it, but I think the evolution of how to reduce the pants, it got better and better, so that at the point when this jeans is done, nobody hardly knows that anything was done to it. There is no weird lines or nothing. There's no dark lines added to the back. And remember, as you go, you want to clean your pants. Look, I'm putting the tag back on, guys. Look, the tag almost goes back on exactly where it was before. In fact, I'm gonna move this over. So I'm gonna take it all the way off, and I'm gonna move it more to the center of the two loops to the back. I want to try to hit the same stitch width, because this leather, if you punch it too many times, it doesn't, it breaks off sooner for the customer. So you want to try to match the original stitch width by changing the width of the switch from 3, which we normally stitch, to 4 or 5. Then we're going to continue stitching it, taking off all the original stitch, making sure it's flat. You want to be as accurate as possible with your stitches, especially with this. Again, when you take it out from under, you want to cut the thread really short. My idea of doing the alterations, right guys, is to make sure that when I am done and I get up off this machine, I don't have to go and cut thread at the ironing board anymore. All of the work is done, okay? The loops now need to be reattached. So originally this loop was tacked on here. Because I didn't damage it to anything, now I have to put the loop a little further off. I'm gonna show you what I like to do. You can stay here and look at that for a minute. As a safety tool, when it comes to reattaching the loop to the pants, I like to add a piece of fabric to the bottom on the original fabric, and it adds a little bit of tension, and it gives us, most ladies bring these jeans for me to fix, and it's because they ripped a hole on the side of the pants. That's because the denim is really soft in this area. So for me, as a courtesy to this person, because I know a lot of men and women grab the loop to the side and you pull it, I recommend that when you're pulling up your jeans that you hold on to the waistband. Please, don't put your finger and pull on the loop like that. It opens up. I'm putting it to the bottom. And now I'm going to put my machine needle, make sure my loop is straight, and I'm going to start tacking. Because it's very thick, look, I'm walking it with my hands. I'm hitting the reverse, and I'm going to come back and forth because I don't want the needle to break. It'll just waste my time, and that's what I don't want to do. Here we go. Take this off, cut off the extra fabric, extra thread. I'm going to use my scissors. Sometimes it bunches up like that to the bottom. And I want to cut out any extra fabric around this because this is meant to add support. It's not pretty. Okay? Sometimes I would add some more stitches, but in this particular case, it's fine. Again, make sure that the loop is straight. Make sure that the extra fabric is exactly down to the bottom where you're putting the stitch back. And you're going to put the stitch. I tacked it several times, and then I'm going to go to the ironing board. Cut out the extra fabric. I'm going to shake this jeans off. So I'm going to turn it over before I get to the ironing board. And I want to shake it off. You want to take it and give it a good whop. Then you want to flip it back on the inside. All right, so on the pressing board, you want to be able to open these seams from the inside. It's very important. You want to be able to press, open up all of these seams. Remember what I said to you guys? I love leaving extra fabric on the inside. Right? I love doing that. To me, it gives you as a person the ability to open these jeans up in the future if you wanted to. And you could make the jeans bigger. If I cut the fabric out, I take away all those options.
I heard the seams are pretty similar.
If you don't have one of these irons in your house, don't worry about it. Use your regular steam iron. It will do the job just as good. Press it off, and again, you want to take off all the extra thread. Don't leave it messy on the inside. Any extra thread, remove it. And then last but not least, you want to turn it back on the right side now. Give it a shake. And you want to give the waistband a little bit of a steam also. Look. Steam the waistband, steam the side, steam the back where you did the work, steam the center seam, steam the waistband again. Steam the side seams, make sure that is nice and clean. So now this pants, we took in the sides, and if you look, there is no darts in the back of the waistband, and you can't even tell that I took in this pants. Everything is original, back to the original. Clean it up. And that's it. Thank you. Okay, so if you've got all the way to here, it meant that you went all the way to the end. You followed this video. And my idea when it comes to alterations and showing you guys the videos here is to at least make you close to proficient when it comes to doing alterations. I hope you guys enjoyed this short tutorial. I know it's about an hour. It may take you about 2 hours. Best of luck, guys. It's Nigel.